Hello, Flosstube! I'm so excited to see you all today because I have some really exciting news. Today is a very special day for two different reasons. I hope at this point all of you have had a chance to watch my brand new Stitchy song, Let It Go UFO. I'll tell you a little more about the inspiration behind that, but I did want to say at the very beginning of this video, the reason for my brand new Stitchy song is because it's a celebration. You know how last time I made my very first Stitchy song, it was to celebrate 500 subscribers? Well, this Stitchy song is to celebrate 1,000. I just cannot believe that I have 1,000 people who have subscribed and want to be a part of my life and a part of my stitching. I feel so flattered and I feel so special to have so many wonderful Flosstube friends around the world who are excited to just get a peek into my creative life, because of course at this point it hasn't been just stitching that I've shared. I've shared a lot of other things, including my paintings and my sculptures and my little critters and all of that stuff as well. So just right now I want to say thank you so much. You know, when I first started making these videos, I thought, oh wow, 1,000 subscribers, I'll never make it that far. You know, that was for the likes of Carolyn and multiple others who were making videos at that time. And I can't believe it that I am now at that level, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of odd to think about. However, there's another exciting reason why I wanted to make that video, and that is because today, the date which you should be watching this video, January 30th, is my Flosstube-iversary, my 1-year Flosstube-iversary. A year ago, January 30th, 2015, I uploaded and, well, filmed and uploaded my very first Flosstube video. And now a year later, I am presenting you all 1,000 of you, with this video as a celebration. I just want to express how excited I am to have made it so far and how happy I have been to be a part of this community for that long. I joined Flosstube. I didn't join it, but I watched Flosstube for about 2 months before I decided to make my first video. And just since then, being able to chat with you all and see your progress and get to know a little bit about your lives, be there with you for your ups and downs. You know, it is a very weird relationship that we all have together, but it's not one that I would give away. I'm so glad I started making my videos. And in fact, I decided I was going to make a tag. I don't think I've seen a Flosstube-iversary tag yet, and I have not made a tag yet, so I thought this was a fantastic reason to do so. I'm going to go over a couple whips and finishes that I have later in the video, but I wanted to get all of this celebration and Flosstube-iversary and 1,000 subscriber things out of the way first. So I have my questions down here. I'm just going to remind myself about them. There are 5 questions here. And the very first question of the Flosstube-iversary tag, 1-year Flosstube, is how did you discover Flosstube? Well, I have a Tumblr. I belong to Tumblr, and when I first got back into cross-stitching after my 10-12 year hiatus, I was looking around at other cross-stitch projects that people had, in particular the cross-stitch tag on Tumblr. And I forget who exactly it was, but there was somebody who not only had the Tumblr, but they also had a cross-stitch blog. So I looked at her blog, and she was involved with a whole lot of those kind of multi-blog events, like your gorgeous giftiness, or like the blog hopping events. And so eventually I hopped around to all different blogs, and I think the very first Flosstube video that I watched was one of Stitching May's videos, because I know she's one of the first ones who've been around a long time doing it. And I saw that and I was like, oh, well, that was a lot of fun. I just loved getting to see the projects in person from different angles, and being able to see, of course, looking back at her videos, the progress that she had made. And I thought, well, I wonder if there's any more cross-stitch videos on YouTube. And eventually I found out all about how it even has its own special name, Flosstube, and found Wonderfully Hopeless's playlist, which at that time was only... It was under 1,000 videos, I think, when I found it. Maybe just at 1,000, and now I don't even know how many it is. But I watched the entire thing. I ended up going backwards to the videos and watched the whole thing. And just since then, I've been hooked. It's so silly. I go home or like my roommates are around and I'm like, oh, just watching ladies talk about cross-stitch and gentlemen talk about cross-stitch. Just watching people talk about cross-stitch and they just laugh at me. But I really enjoy it. It's a great way for me to relax after, you know, the end of a day. And as I said earlier, it just feels like I'm friends with you all and I know you and I know a little bit of your life. And it's like sitting down with a friend for stitching. I don't have any real life stitchy friends, so for me it's so great to be able to come and stitch with you. And so that's how I discovered Flosstube. The second question is, who or what inspired you to make Flosstube videos? As I said, I found the playlists and was obsessed and watched through all of them that I could find, and it's going to be cliche, and I know that probably everyone thinks of her as like, I don't know, their Flosstube idol, but Carolyn Mazzio is just the pinnacle for me of Flosstube videos. And so I saw hers, and I think it was her and Jan at Thread Garden, and of course Stitching May. I wouldn't be here without finding her videos. And you know, a lot of the original core group, even Jellicles Forever, and just all of them getting on and having all of their whips in order and all of their progress in order, getting on and making the videos, and as I said before, I don't have stitchy friends in real life, and so to think that, oh well, maybe I could be a part of that community, and all of these ladies showing off their fantastic work, and you know, maybe I could share mine. I could have somebody to share it with. I think that was my main inspiration, was I was so excited about what I was doing, and people around me thought it was cool, but you know, people who aren't stitchers just don't quite appreciate what goes into it, and the different patterns and the different flosses and beads and all of that sparkly stuff. So I think my main reason for like what inspired me was the community aspect of it. Who inspired me were those wonderful Flosstubers that I mentioned before. I also want to throw in Coffee Stitcher there, a gentleman stitcher who not only shared my love for cross stitching but also musical theater. And so seeing some of the stuff that he had done and kind of pulled into his projects, I was like, oh, that's so cool. You can bring in the other things in life that you like to your stitching. So for example, when I made my Grumpy Javert, it was me bringing my Les Mis experience into my stitching experience, which was very fun. And just as a creative person as I am, and with this new medium that I had gotten so excited about it, I just wanted to share it. So that is why I started making my Flosstube videos. Number 3, which project are you most proud of that you showed from the very first stitch or from the very first progress pick to the finished, even fully finished object on Flosstube? So this is a project that you guys would have seen the very first stitches after Stitch Mania and the very finished project as a framed cross stitch. And you even saw me stitch this twice, but that is my hot stuff pattern. I went ahead and pulled it off the wall. You guys will have seen 2 different versions of this at this point. The very first version I designed from scratch without even a cross stitch program. I literally drew with a pencil on the fabric and calculated and worked out to where everything was even and my text looked good and all of that stuff. And then I restitched it with a program to make up a pattern that I could sell. So this project I'm most proud of because it was my very first project that I had designed myself, and it was my very first project that I put up for sale in my Etsy store. So I do have to say, even though it's not the biggest project at this point, it is the project that I'm the most proud of. And I'm so happy that I got to share it with you guys all along the way. You know, my hot stuff pattern was in my first or second Flosstube video, so that's almost from the beginning. So that's going way back. Question number 4 is, what do you hope to accomplish in your next year of Flosstube? And this is kind of a hard one because there's a lot of other tags out there that say, you know, what do you hope to accomplish in the next year of stitching per se? And so it's hard for me to distinguish a difference between those. But in my answers, I'm trying to think of things that I do want to accomplish and share with all of you on Flosstube. One of those is to finish up my very first YouTube stitch along, which was my Mirabilia Sal, the one that Mrs. Milky Bar Kid had started January 1st of 2015, so over a year ago at this point. I had picked my Emerald Mermaid whip to do, and I'm not done. So I would like to accomplish before my next Flosstube-iversary, to finish that. I think that's my big Flosstube goal. You know, I also would like to share with all of you maybe more progress on my first full coverage design, which is my After the Bath project. But I feel like these are all kind of things that are like, what in the next year do you want to do stitchy-wise? Which a lot of us have been doing since it is the beginning of the year. So I'm trying not to repeat myself too much. I think the big one is I would like to finish that Sal. Because without Flosstube, I wouldn't have started it. I would have been too scared of Mirabilias. I would have been too kind of put off by the price, but it was exciting for me to pick and to order it and know that I was stitching along with so many other wonderful people on Flosstube. So I think that's my big goal for the next year of Flosstube. We'll see if it happens. And the very last question, number 5, is, do you have any tips for anyone who is wanting to make their very first Flosstube video? You know, those of us who have gotten to a year of Flosstube videos or more have probably done a little experimentation and have had videos that we thought went really well or videos that we thought did not go very well. I would like to say, for my tips, I think it helps to be organized. I think it helps to have things set up. I'm not going to say that you need a script and you need to be reading off of a script. That works well for some people, but I do think it helps to be organized. I find that I have piles of finishes, I have a pile of whips, I have a pile of haul/stash, and I go through each, and as, you know, fun things pop into my head, then I share them. I also would like to suggest, and it's, if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine, but, you know, to put a little personality or personal, don't want to say personal details to the fact that people will stalk you, but, you know, answer tags, let people know you a little bit, show off your pets, you know, talk about another hobby that you really like, talk about something else that you're passionate for and with. I find the Flosstubers that I love, that I get so excited when their new videos pop up, are the ones that I feel like I've known a little bit. You know, I've gotten to know, whether it's activities or books or animals or, you know, any of those things that we share in common. Those are the ones, oh, I'm so excited to see what she's doing. I wonder if she's going to mention that she mentioned a couple videos ago because I want an update. You know, I think bringing in those personal details are what make people friends, you know, through Flosstube versus, you know, like a coworker, somebody that you are strictly business with. I think bringing in those little extra details create the community and the friendship that I find that I have with so many other Flosstubers. I should have thought about this a lot more, but I had a hard enough time coming up with 5 questions. So I think I'm going to stop it there. So my YouTube tips, my Flosstube tips are be organized and be a friend / add some details. I think also, if you're wanting to become a part of the Flosstube community, a really good way is to start commenting on videos. Not everyone comments back because it gets busy, and when you have a lot of comments, it's hard to reply to them all, especially if you're making weekly videos. But when you're first starting out, definitely take the time to reply to people, and if they ask you questions, answer them, even maybe follow up with questions of your own. Like, getting to know people through the comments has been a really fun thing, and I think the Stitchers that I count among my closest friends are the ones that started, those friendships just started in the comments, finding mutual interests and the like, and blossoming from there. So I think those are my tips, and I'm going to cut here and get my whips and my update together. And before I do that, I just want to reiterate again, thank you for sticking through 1 year of Blimey Cat Stitches Flosstube videos, and for all 1,005 or 6 or whatever, how many ever there are of you. Thank you. It's so exciting to know that I have friends all over the world who love the same thing that I do, which is cross stitch. Not everyone in real life appreciates it, so it's fun to have found this little niche community, and I'm so pleased to be a part of it. Thanks for having me. Alright, I'm going to be right back. Alright, and I'm back for your kind of typical update. I have a finish, which is also a new start, I'm fairly certain, and another mini finish, and another new start, and some progress. So it's been a busy month so far, and I'll go into some more of that a little later. I'll go ahead and start with the finish that I have. It is an FFO. This is a pattern that I designed and stitched up. It's called Home is Where the Dog Is, or Where the Dog Is. I don't know what I would call it. I had some roommates move out recently. I don't know if I mentioned it in my previous videos, but I lived with a couple and their dog for about the last 5 months or so, I think. 4 months. Maybe it was only 4. August, September. It's 4 or 5 months. Between 4 and 5 months with partial months in. And when they moved out, the woman of the couple had said, I really like your cross stitch. I'd love to hang something in our new apartment. And I had this idea for a cross stitch. It'd be really cute if we could do something of the puppy. And so this is the puppy who is living with us. And I got into my cross stitch design program on my computer and planned this out. She came up with the phrase, home is where the dog is, and I told her I was going to make a portrait of the puppy on here, and I don't think she quite believed me that it would look like her, but this looks a lot like the little puppy, and it turned out really nice. She has a purple collar in real life, so that's why the kind of accent color is purple. And as far as what I want to do with this pattern in the future, I really like it, and I'm considering picking specific breeds to put down here. So it's framed as if the puppy's, on the edge of the picture frame peeking out, because this puppy had some trouble jumping on people, so it's just kind of funny that she's jumping up. Anyway, I was thinking that I would maybe make some different dog breeds and sell them in like packs. You'd pay for maybe a pack of 5 different breeds, so that if you want to do more than one breed, you don't necessarily have to buy the pattern like 3 different times if you have 3 different breeds of dogs or something. I don't know yet. I have to think about it, but I think it would be fun to work at getting some particular breeds. In my late high school and college years, I was very into a virtual computer game that was about breeding and showing and all of that, purebred dogs. And so I learned a lot about all the different dog breeds back then. And so I still, when I'm like walking down the street of New York, I'm like, oh, there's a Shiba. Oh, there's a Frenchie. Oh, that's got to be an Anatolian Shepherd. And I don't know, there's some big rare breeds in the city. Or, a Neapolitan Mastiff or different random breeds like that. And so it would be actually fun for me to come up with different breeds to put on there. And who knows, that might happen. I also want to do a cat version. So, of course, it would say home is where the cat is, and probably the first cat I would stitch would be Daenerys, my beautiful calico kitty. So that was my start and finish, and I'm actually walking over to their new apartment to drop that off today. And my other mini finish is I finished my second of the Brooks Books Advent Animals. That's part of the Brooks Books year-long sale in Stitch Mania. And funny story to this, you guys remember Katie Kitty? There she is. Well, I accidentally stitched her on the wrong side of the fabric. I don't think I mentioned this yet in my last video, because I think I had only stitched her. So I continued on and I finished Peter Polar Bear. He is on the right side of the fabric, but there he is. I think he's so cute. And I completely agree with him. I love Coco as well, especially when it's so cold. I'm sure a lot of you know, but the East Coast got a whole bunch of snow a week ago. We got snowed in. The above ground subway stopped running, so I couldn't have gotten anywhere if I wanted to. And my roommate made some hot chocolate, and we played in the snow, and then we drank our hot chocolate, and then we had pizza, and it was a fun day. It was like a mandatory snow day. It was a weekend too, so I wasn't scheduled to work, so it wasn't stressful. And let's go on to my progress. The one project that I worked a whole lot on after I finished up the Home is Where the Dog Is pattern is my Disney Dreams Peter Pan kit that I got from Helga and EJ. Thank you again. I told you I'm going to say it every time. I don't know if you still watch these videos even, but I'm going to mention it. Well, Brian and I started this together on October 1st of last fall, and even though the stitch along is technically still not going, I keep an eye on how far he is, and I want to keep up. It's like that competitive thing. So I saw that he was a lot further ahead than I was, and I was like, I've got to pull this out and stitch on it a bit. So I made quite a bit of progress. Here is where I'm at now, and I believe the last time you would have seen this, I had, all of this done, and I had this blue up here. And since then, I'm pretty sure, stitched a lot of this out here, added the two colors here, and got started on this chunk of the Neverland Sea, because Neverland and Skull Rock and stuff is going to be up here. And so I got started on this. And I know I was complaining about the colors on this kit because I was stuck in this land of blues and grays, but I cannot complain about those colors again, because look at these awful, they're called green grays. Oh, they're so terrible. There's a light peach in there that kind of breaks it up, but oh my goodness, I just see Brian's working on the Little Mermaid, and so he's got the rainbow ocean and the rainbow sky, and I'm just a little jealous. It's going to look really cool when it's done, of course, but it's just, I got to this point and I was like, I can't do it anymore. I got to stop. Let it go. Not forever, but for now. So I I stitched quite a bit on that one. And of course my needle minder there is a Peter Pan silhouette that I got from Gina's Unique Boutique. And I'll be excited to get back to that. I think he might still be a little ahead of me, but I feel much better about where I'm at now. We were discussing this, actually, that these are huge patterns. I was starting this and stitching it and was making some progress, and I was like, oh, this is such a fun stitch. But it's not until now that I just fully realize I haven't even done a quarter of a page. I haven't even done an eighth of this project, and I have spent so much time on it. It's huge. I never thought of the Disney Dreams kits quite as Haid level. full coverage designs, but they are. That they are. But yeah, that's my Peter Pan progress. I think it's definitely coming along very well. I'm going to be glad when I get out of that ocean, but of course I have to stitch it to get out of that ocean. I guess, I don't know that I mentioned this either, exciting news, I'm going to do Peter Pan again. This was something I was going to mention when talking about my next project, but I've been packing up my room to get ready to move to another state to go do a show for 2 months. And it just so happens to be Peter Pan. I'm not playing Peter this time. I'm a Lost Boy and Peter Pan understudy. But I have a feeling that once I'm like in Neverland and being a little Lost Boy running around, I probably will feel like getting that project back out and stitching on it. So I have a feeling that I'll be working on it some more very soon. And the last project I'm going to show you is a brand new start. This is a project you've seen me kit up before, and one that I've been wanting to do a long time, and I finally decided I was going to do it. So originally, the reason I wanted to do this pattern was because one day I just woke up and thought, you know what, I want to stitch a leopard. And some of you will remember this story from the first time I told it. And I looked around and didn't find any leopard patterns I liked. And then I remembered Letitia Beckett had posted, the Crafty Curator, had posted a video going through Jane Netley Mayhew's cross-stitch safari. I was like, oh, I wonder if there was a leopard in that. And there definitely was a leopard. She's called the Queen of Cats, and this is the pattern. Some of you have seen this before, whether through people showing off the book or from when I showed it off. She had seen it. Letitia, did you see it on Jessie Marie's page? Did Jessie Marie like kind of instigate this whole thing? I can't remember. But about a week or two ago, or like a week and a half ago, Jessie Marie had posted in Stitch Mania an update picture of her elephants that she's stitching, and I was like, oh man, that pattern's looking really cool, and I want to do my leopard. But I didn't have the fabric I wanted for it, and I knew I was getting ready to move, so I was like, no, just stick with what you're doing. And I think I was either still working on the puppy or in the middle of Peter Pan, and was like, I've got to get some progress on this stuff done. Well, then Tracy P. started her Jane Netley Mayhew Safari pattern. She's doing the, it's the chimpanzee who's like, she calls it, hey girl, what's going on? Tell me about it. I think that's what she's calling it. The hey girl chimp is now what it is in my brain. I don't know what it's actually called. I saw her start hers, and I was like, oh man, I really want to start that. But I still didn't have the fabric. Well, I was packing up my room, and I found these fabric paints, these particular paints that I used to use to paint some costume pieces. These fabric paints are made specifically so that they do not harden on a fabric, and it's still flexible, but it is still a paint. It's not a dye. Well, anyway, I found them, and I was like, it's the perfect time. I'm going to make my fabric. Now, I originally was going to use a piece of fabric that I had tea dyed, but that was a few months ago, and by the time I pulled the fabric back out again, it had faded. You couldn't see any of the colors except like a vague mottled tea, and that wasn't what I wanted. I really wanted a safari, savannah, like sunset type look to it, so this is what I ended up with, and you'll actually see my start there too. So the goal with this fabric is kind of the sunset over here with the pink of the sun hitting the clouds up here, and nothing, you know, like it's not an actual sun, but just to give the impression of it. And so I just took my paintbrush, watered down the paint a lot, and kind of just painted here. And this is actually the side I painted on, which you can see the colors are a lot stronger, but you can see like on this spot where the paint is kind of blotchy. I didn't like that, and luckily the back turned out nice. So I'm using this side. And the goal, if you remember, hold on, she's facing this way. So the goal is You can see her face goes out that way. The goal is, where I have it now, I'm hoping that it will place to where her head is like here. The grass is going to come out here and it's going to come up here. So that this kind of pretty spot over here is left mainly open, and it kind of looks like she's just woken up, because I think leopards are rather nocturnal, perhaps. Anyway, she just woke up, or she's resting and getting ready to sleep, I don't know. And she's just like looking over the savannah, and just the bright colors of the sun are shining from behind her. And anyway, that was my idea, and I think it worked out really well. I'm super excited about it, and I've already had the best time stitching her. I just don't want to put her down. I keep having to tell myself, Brittany, you are leaving this weekend. You need to get your room cleared out. So I have to tell myself, stop. So it's like, well, I'll do all the colors in this little section, and then I'll get something cleaned up, and then I'll come back to it. It's ridiculous. I'm sure none of you have ever bargained with yourself that way, but I'll give you a close-up of where I'm at. So you can see already I have some leopard spots, as well as some of those little, like the seed tips on the grass. And that's a dragon from Nifty Needle Nannies on Facebook. Oh, I just love it. There's about 5 different shades of like taupey grays and whites and a light yellow in this white section here. And this section is, ooh, like her chin, or the back of her jaw right here is what I meant to say. Her jaw. So you can see the kind of little trail of spots that I followed up this way. And I think what I want to do is I'm starting here in the middle, and I kind of want to come up here and around this way and do the face last. Just because I know if I do the face and then I'm like stuck in the grass down here, I'm going to hate it. So maybe I wouldn't hate it, but I have a feeling I'll enjoy stitching on the face more. So that's my Queen of Cats, and I'm just so excited to be working on her. So thank you to all the enablers who have created this project, from Letitia at the beginning, and Jessie Marie, and Tracy, and also I'm going to call out Carolyn in there because she did her J. Netley Mayhew piece, which was Mother's Devotion, the mommy giraffe and the baby giraffe, and that was so wonderful and realistic and just beautiful. I said I want to do one too. So here I am, and I finally got to start it. I was feeling bad about starting it, but now that I have, I'm just so excited about it. I really am. I'm just very excited about it. And just the last little stuff that I wanted to share with you. My birthday was a few weeks ago, and I had a fantastic birthday. It was really great, and I decided I was going to get myself some needle minders as a birthday present. And I wasn't originally, however, I was watching Ashley Morgan's video, and her secret Santa, who was Tara C. I hope I'm getting all this right. Got her a really gorgeous blue dragon needle minder, and an oriental dragon, and I saw that, and so I went to look for it because I thought it was gorgeous. He's not only just this fantastic rich blue, but he is all bling. So beautiful. Just so gorgeous. And big. I thought he and this dragon could be friends. So I have a red dragon now. You can't tell, but he's got red jewels in him. And my blue dragon. I love dragons. Dragons and cats is my aesthetic, is what I've decided. And I maybe wasn't going to buy any needle minders, but I saw this one, and any of you that have been watching a while know that I definitely could not resist this. And I have never seen this one in any other stores besides Julie's store, Nifty Needle Nannies. It's Peter! I've never seen him. I've seen all the princesses, but I have not seen Peter. So I decided I have got to buy him. So I ordered him. And he's got like the same color hair as I do. Like, honestly, look at that. That's about the same. And I love him. He's so darn cute. And he's cuter even in person than he was on the picture. So I saw him and I like had to get him. And I was like, well, if I'm buying needle minders, sorry guys, fell over. If I'm buying needle minders, I have to like buy a few so that I feel like shipping wise I'm taking advantage of the order that I'm doing. And it was coming up to my birthday, so I decided I was going to do a couple. One of the other ones I got was this beautiful horse. It's a golden horse. I thought it would look nice on my carousel horses that I intend to do eventually. I've got the Halloween one started, but I'd like to do a lot of the other ones as well. I thought he was really pretty, which he's pretty big too. And then I also got, and I haven't seen her anywhere either, and as a redhead, I just had to get her. I got Jessie the Yodeling Cowgirl. Oh my gosh, she's adorable. She's cuter than she was on the page too. My dream would be, so you know if you go to Disney and you meet Jessie and Woody, I don't want to like say it the wrong way, but you know they're rather, you know, expressionless. And you know they just the heads, they have very big proportions. I'm just gonna say it, you know, they're costume characters. I want them to make Jessie a face character, and I want them to hire me to play her because I think that I would be the cutest, the darn tootinest, cutest little cowgirl. So that's my dream. And in the meantime, I have her here with me. I don't know who I'm gonna use, project I'm gonna use her on, but I just think she's so cute. Look how sparkly her hat is. So she has sparkly boots, belt, cuffs, and her, of course, her red hat. Ugh, I just think she's so cute. Had to have her. I had to get her. And then, because it was my birthday, and also keeping in mind the death of the legendary David Bowie that occurred the Monday before my birthday, Julie was kind enough to send me an extra needle minder, which of course, if you are a fan of David Bowie, you recognize this as him as the Goblin Queen, Goblin King, in Labyrinth. So it's cool. It's a really great way to, you know, have a memorial, I guess, for someone who, especially in my line of work, you ask anyone about David Bowie and they'll be able to tell you, you know, just so many performers especially were inspired by him and his, you know, passion for music and the arts and his ability to just be himself. I think so many of us in theater and the arts are told, oh, that's not normal, and, you know, oh, you have to tone it down, but he certainly didn't. I think David Bowie was himself his whole life, and, you know, that's what I strive to do, is to live my passion and to be me, and don't let my fear of what other people think stop me from doing that. So, thank you so much, Julie, for those wonderful, wonderful needle minders. I love all of them, and I'm so excited to use them eventually. And that is all of my Stitchy haul. There's one other thing I want to mention, and that was a little bit more about my video. I meant to do this earlier in that chunk about subscribers and Flosstube-iversary, but I wanted to mention the inspiration behind the video. So the wonderful Pyrex Stitches, Claire, absolutely adored my very first Happy Stitching song. And she said, oh, oh, my favorite song is Part of Your World from Little Mermaid. You should make that into a song. And I already have figured out a good way to do it, but I just was stuck on the lyrics. And surprise, surprise, inspiration for this one, for Let It Go, came also from Claire. How funny. She was talking about this giant project, this giant kit that she'd gotten from China. It was a tree. It's like this big. And it was all kinds of shades of green. And it was just huge, lots of confetti. And she posted in Stitch Mania and just said, guys, I really don't want to do this anymore. You know, is it okay if I don't? And she just sounded so miserable. And of course, all of us rallied together and said, hey, let it go. And people started singing Let It Go. So then I went in and I did kind of the first verse of Let It Go. And it grew from there. I was able to fill out the rest of the song, and I thought, oh, this will be a fun one for my next video. So that's why I decided to do it. Thanks, Claire, for inspiring this video, as well as probably the next one whenever that one happens. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope all of you enjoy it. I had a wonderful time making it. I did have to make it by myself, so that's why the camera angles are a little odd, and it was lit entirely by OttLight. I thought that would be fitting. So the lighting is not fantastic in all of it. But I hope you enjoy the sentiment behind it, and I just really hope you take that message to heart, not only in cross-stitch, but particularly in cross-stitch. If you're working on a project and you're not enjoying it and you're spending your time doing it, you only have so much time in a life. Just let it go. Don't feel bad. Don't feel ashamed. Take that box of shame and turn it into a box of unshame, because there's no reason to be ashamed of those projects. Right now, especially, I know Mackenzie was able to rehome one of her projects, and I think there's a group out there that's about rehoming projects. If you feel bad enough, you know, rehome it, give it to someone else, but don't feel bad for not stitching it. Don't feel ashamed. Let it go. But also, you know, take that into the rest of your life and just let things go. Let go what other people think of you, especially here on Flosstube. Let go of mean things people say. I know it hurts, but you know, in the scheme of things, those people don't matter. You have one life to live, and live it the way that makes you happy. I mean, don't go out and murder people, or don't go out and stalk them and creep them out and, like, steal their skin or whatever, but do what makes you happy, and take to heart the people that make you happy. And those other people, let them go. They don't deserve to be a part of your life, and they're not worth the effort. And that wasn't supposed to turn into like an inspirational rally, but I think it's a great message. I've always enjoyed that song, and it's always felt like a very powerful song because of personal life reasons for it. And to sing it was really fun. I had a blast. My voice is a little tired lately because of all the snow and cold and warm as the weather's doing up here in New York. So it's like not perfect, but I'm satisfied with it. I could have like worked, but I wanted it to be in time for this weekend, and I didn't want to be abusing my vocal cords over and over and over to hit that last note. It's that last one. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. But it's a lot higher. It's toughy. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And just one final time, I'm going to say thank you to everyone. You guys mean so much to me, and I'm just so blessed and pleased to have each of you as a part of my life. And I hope you enjoyed I hope you enjoyed my song. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait for another year of Flosstube. I'm planning on it. I hope you guys stick around for it. It's gonna be a great year. So I'm gonna say happy stitching, and until next time, I'm gonna be somewhere else next time. It'll be a surprise, and I'll see you guys hopefully sometime soon. Have a wonderful week, and I'll say goodbye.